Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissy Mayer podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, please go and leave a 5-star review. For example, here's a really great review from J Binge 2020. The review is called Bruh. The review says, "Keep killing it. It's like boobs and brains all in one package. You are on fire. With love, Prez-elect Killdozer." Well, thanks, Killdozer / JBinge 2020. See, was that so hard? I don't think so. I love these reviews. Appreciate it, guys. I have a bunch of dates coming up. That's right, guys. I'm not just a podcaster. I do stand-up comedy. Come and see me if you're in Connecticut next Saturday, February 6th. I'm going to be in Cos Cob. I'm going to be in Dallas, February 19th and 20th at Hyenas in Dallas. And February 26th, I'm going to be at Comedians of the Compound in Royersford, Pennsylvania at Soul Joel's Comedy Club. And then on, I believe it's a Sunday, February 28th, I'm going to be headlining the Stress Factory in New Brunswick, New Jersey. I'm also teaming up with a fellow comedian friend of mine, Tim Young. This is very exciting. It's a very exciting new comedy tour he and I are doing together. We're still figuring out a name. It's going to be something free speech related. We are going to be doing some dates this spring out in Florida, Nashville, and Alabama. I know I named random states and cities there, but we have some dates. This is very exciting. Tim is my dude. I'm excited to go on the road with him and spread comedy. You know what? Also, I'm excited to spread is our sponsor. Nope. Spread your legs for Manscaped. This episode is brought to you by manscaped.com. They are the #1 brand in caring for your family jewels. I think I said that right. Here we go. Boom. Here's the performance package. I love Manscaped. I bought a whole package of stuff for Frank, my boyfriend. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It made his junk look bigger. All right, boys and girls, shaving down there. I mean, not for girls. It doesn't make your junk look bigger. If you're a girl, it just makes you look, I guess, young. But if you're a guy and you shave down there, it does make it look bigger. It does make a difference. And my guest can attest to this. They just launched a unit in the UK. So now all my overseas friends can get them. I don't know if you guys have this problem that you nick your balls when you shave and then you go to like get busy and then it feels awkward. No more with manscaped.com. Check out the lawnmower. It works really great. It's got a 90-minute battery. It comes on this really great recharging station. This is the lawnmower right here. This whole thing, it comes in this performance package with some really great products. Like this is like ball. They don't say ball, they say crop because that's a little bit, more chic. And, if your balls smell, I would get this whole performance package. You get the lawnmower right here. You get the, what's it called? The Manscaper. It's good for like ears. But if you want to just get one thing, get this lawnmower. It's legit. It's like waterproof. It comes with a 90-minute recharging station. No, the battery's 90 minutes. It comes with a recharging station. I'm fucking this up, guys. I'm sorry. Cutting edge ceramic blade. If you're a dude, give this a try. Go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code CMP. You're going to get 20% off your whole order plus free shipping. And gals, if you're listening to this, really just get it for yourself. It's a gift for yourself. And then just sort of leave it in the bathroom with a note that says, "My love, shave your balls." Go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code CMP. Get 20% off of your entire order. This episode is also brought to you by Cushy Dreams. I just posted a little Instagram video about Cushy Dreams. They just started doing these. Nope, that's not it. That's just the website. They just started doing this really great like 5-pack. See, I love their pre-rolls right here. They do 5-pack of hemp pre-roll joints. It basically, if you're not familiar with CBD, but if you have smoked weed, no, I don't want that. Why get 10% off when you can get 20% off using the promo code CMP? Basically, what's great about smoking CBD is, for me, I feel calm right away. It calms down my mind, body. It's not like weed, whereas like when I would smoke weed, I would go to La La Land. I would feel too relaxed, and then I would get nothing done. And if you are like me, I would suggest doing this because it's great when you have to work, you have things to do, and it comes in all these great, like I call them flavors, but they're not. It's different indica sativa blends like energy, hustle, relax, dream. All of this is grown here in the USA, completely legal in all 50 states. Enjoy all the benefits of CBD without getting high. Again, there's under 0.3% THC in all of these products, ships right to you. Join the men and women who are sick of their vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. Looks, smells, feels just like high quality marijuana, but with none of the sleepy side effects. Yeah, these are all the strains here. I've tried almost every one of them. I am partial to the pre-rolls because you just light them up and smoke them and you look cool. So go to cushydreams.com, cushy with a K, and use the promo code CMP. You're to get 20% off your whole order plus free shipping. All right, without further ado, I was going to show this cool background I have. I have this cool Canada background. Well, I can't get it up because I'm not a master of StreamYard yet. Guys, I'm so excited to have this gal on the podcast today. She is from Canada, currently operating out of her Mexican office. She's currently in Mexico. She is a Canadian writer, journalist. She is the host of The Same Drugs podcast. It's Meghan Murphy. How are you?
Hola, amigos.
Hola. What brings you to the fine land of Mexico? Just to get away from it all?
Sorry, I have like a bunch of I just want to it's like I've been flipping my hair back. Guys, I can't straighten my hair in Mexico. I didn't bring my like high-powered blow dryer or any of my straightening products. So this is what happens to my hair and humidity also.
Good for you, Meghan. You're doing eat, pray, love. You're doing you right now. Sometimes that's what I love about vacation or like being away. It's like you can do different weird things, like try out
you can flip your hair to the other side.
Try out a new part, get weird, make out with the cabana
I
boys.
ran away from Vancouver. That's what I did.
How are things in Canada? I just did a podcast earlier today with somebody from Canada, and he was like, I'm so jealous. You're doing comedy, everything in Canada. I didn't know what part he was from. I didn't ask, but he said, Trudeau's got us locked down. He's a fucking asshole. No, he just was like, I asked him, I'm like, do you think he's a dumb cuck? And he was like, no. He wasn't really willing to talk a lot of shit, but
I mean, Trudeau doesn't know what he's doing, and we elected a drama teacher as prime minister, so it kind of serves us right. I'm never going to stop touching my hair because it's like
I know. I do it too because sometimes, like, for me, I had my hair up all day, and then I was like, girl, it's time to do a podcast. You got to look good. And then I take you take your hair down. I'm at the point where it's like,
your hair looks great.
Thank you. It's a little too dirty. I thought I was going to be able to shower today. I mean, wash my hair, whatever. Fine. I didn't shower, but I thought I was gonna be able to hit it with some dry shampoo, and then the day got away from me. And now it's just, sometimes when you have your hair up all day, then you take it down, then it looks a little weird.
Like, I feel I just don't I can only wear my hair like this in certain weathers, and like humidity is one of them, but I can't. I mean, I don't think I've washed my hair in like a week. I just keep like wetting it or like going in the water. So anyway, you guys, it looks great, right?
I like it. I like it.
But
going curly.
Canada is like it's not cool. And Trudeau's threatening to, sorry, it's echoey in here because I have like a concrete room. Trudeau's threatening to strand anyone who traveled abroad, right? Like he's trying to punish people for traveling. And I like right now in Canada, if you travel, you have to get a test before you come back 3 days before, which I was like, fine, whatever, like I can handle that. And you have to quarantine for 2 weeks, which is like a lot. Unnecessary in my opinion.
Who's really going? I mean, are there quarantine cops in Canada? Do you have like what we have here, like Cuomo outside your window? We have little stickies for our window of like Governor Cuomo's head, because he didn't want us getting together for the holidays. But is there anybody to hold someone accountable for their quarantine?
I don't know. Like, it's like supposedly you could get fined a lot of money or maybe even jailed, but I don't know anyone that's happened to, but I also don't know that many people are traveling. I mean, I suspect whatever, but like the threat is that what Trudeau has been and I was like, just tell us. But he's been threatening since last week to make us all, if we travel, when we come back, go into like government mandated quarantine hotels, like
Or a
for 2
gulag.
weeks. Yeah. On your own dime,
concentration
too.
camp. Yeah.
It's like, oh, like you're not allowed to go home. You have to go stay in this facility. I was like,
Oh.
that's cool. I just won't come back. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not doing that. That's creepy.
Like, it better be 5 stars, Trudeau. Come on.
Like, I'll stay here. I mean, I was planning on staying a while anyway, and I kind of left. I brought my dog with me, in case I decided I didn't want to come home. But
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a beautiful Chihuahua. She's asleep in the
She's
room.
asleep.
Otherwise,
All right.
I
I was gonna say
sorry.
wake her up, but no, that's crazy. I'm here to talk to you, I
Maybe
guess.
she'll come out later. I'll see if I
Okay,
can
okay.
rouse her.
I'll just start making kissy noises. That's so good. You brought your dog. You're set up there. It's good. It's good to get away,
Yeah.
you know. So Megan, I don't know if people know or if you've explained this a million times, but for the viewers that don't know, that you are kind of an OG of getting banned. You're kind of a original gangster of online deplatforming and censorship. I would go as far to say, would you agree that you were censored before it was cool?
Yes. I feel like I was one of the OGs of cancel culture. Feel like I was one of the first to get banned from Twitter. I mean, there was Alex Jones, there was Milo, and then there was and to be honest, I don't actually know why those two were banned, but I know that for me, it was for a very bullshit reason, which was saying that men aren't women and referring to males as he. I literally, I think that people think that when people get banned, they're like, oh, okay, but come on, you were threatening to murder someone, weren't you? Like, you're just lying. You're pretending this is unjustified, but you were being a Nazi, right? Like,
yeah, you must have done something really horrible to get banned from Twitter. Yeah. And this was how many years ago?
This was 2018. And wow. I'm still suffering the consequences. I just oh my God, I can't deal with my fucking hair. It's gigantic.
We have an hour. We have an hour for you to figure out where your hair will be.
This is gonna drive me crazy. I'll just
I love it. I think you and I have the same exact. we look like God. We look like we could be. I don't know. Maybe if I I don't know. We could be related. But I think my hair also air dries curly like yours too.
Yeah, I have to use a lot of straightening products and blow dry it and straighten it and then use more products and then it's good. But it's just too humid here. It won't stay. Anyway, sorry. Okay, this is not interesting for anyone listening. Only
I know. I'm like, I have a girl on. I get excited.
We can talk about frizz.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I legit did just, I obviously got banned. I still don't know exactly what rule I broke because they never told me,
wow.
right?
They didn't say anything.
No, they just send you a form message, or they sent me a form message in any case saying you broke the rules. They don't say what rule, yada, 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 hateful conduct. And then I appealed and they send back another response. And then that's that. And you're fucked. And for most regular people, it probably wouldn't matter that much. And so a lot of people will respond and they're like, well, who cares? It's just Twitter. But it's my job. I'm independent. The only way that I can do my work and make a living is by building an audience on social media, which is very unfortunate. I don't like that, but that's the world we live in. And so if you can't access social media, then you can't speak to your people. You can't be part of the conversation. I still I can't contact. It's very difficult for me to contact people for interviews, which is a primary thing that I do.
Look at your YouTube channel. You've interviewed so many amazing people.
But it would be even better.
It would be so much bigger. Yeah.
Mhm.
Peter Hitchens, Matt Taibbi, Tom Slater. This is all great. I mean, I was so excited to discover you because I'm like, this is my fucking jam. You're singing my song. You're passionate about free speech, censorship. It's like, but you also have had the upward challenge of you've been banned. And I don't know if you noticed, I do have a Canadian background here. I did download that
Oh,
especially for
oh,
you.
okay.
I
That
don't
looks like my,
know.
yeah, that looks like where it was like, oh, I didn't realize that was, there are
And
trees and
also,
mountains and water. I should have known.
and then there's like a shit. This is how little I time, but how little I put into prep. There's weird, like letters in the corner there that I didn't even bother to delete.
This is more, you put a lot more effort into your podcasts than I do. Like, I don't ever have backgrounds. My background is just like my shitty apartment and my shitty chair. So
Oh no, I love it.
this is less shitty because I'm in an Airbnb. This is actually like, this is nice for me. Like normally I'm just like in my shitty Vancouver apartment.
It's fluffy and chic. It's a good chair. So for how have you dealt with? You're saying before I got excited and pulled your YouTube up that it's been harder for you to reach out to guests because when you're on Twitter you can I've never been verified. And were you verified, Megan?
Yeah, I was verified, and then they took my check away, and then they banned me. I think later that day, like within 24 hours, they were like, "We're gonna get ya."
They said
And they banned me on a Friday night. Like I was out at the bar, and then I looked at my email, and I was like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?" And I was super like confused and upset. I was really upset. Like I think people,
very upsetting.
like I
Yeah.
said, I cried.
I would cry
Because
too.
I was scared. I was like, how am I gonna like I was worried about being able to make a living. Like I was like, oh my God, like how am I gonna do my job?
Right. And when you're verified on Twitter, I don't know this, but I've heard that it helps you with access to other verifieds because your little blue birdies talk to each other. And I guess it somehow makes it easier.
I mean, it's just that's sort of where all my contacts were, and that's where my audience was because I didn't really use Facebook. I don't love social media, so I never actually put a bunch of time into building an audience on social media. Like I'm very impractical. I'm not career oriented. I'm not a good capitalist. Like I don't really do anything intentionally. I just happen to build an audience on Twitter, and I sort of liked using Twitter. So I didn't have a public Facebook page. I didn't have a public Instagram page. And so that I wasn't on YouTube at that time. Like I just hadn't really bothered. I just sort of did whatever sort of came
Right.
naturally. So yeah, so as far as social media goes, like my audience was on Twitter, and I mean it's just so they have so much power. And it's so freaky, and it's weird to me that people aren't more freaked out by it. Like it's so, when you talk to people about this, they're either like, oh, it's just social media, who cares? Like go use some other platform. Or they're like, well, it's a private company, like they can do what they want to. And it's like, sure, those arguments would make sense if we weren't talking about the place where news is shared and information is shared, and this is a company that's determining what we're allowed to say, what words we're allowed to use, what we're allowed to talk about, what we're allowed to think about, essentially. Like it's like, no, you're not allowed to think this about COVID. You're not allowed to think this about gender identity. You're not allowed to think this about Trump. Like you're not even allowed to ask these questions.
You can't question it, which is what makes me go, holy shit. Like we can't ask questions? Adults? Like thinking adults can't ask questions about this regular shit, Like I don't know. It sucks.
And people just don't take it seriously. And I started, I end up feeling like I'm turning into some kind of like conspiracy theorist or something like that, because I'm like, you guys, like, this is dark. Like this is going in a very dangerous direction. We're all online. Essentially, everything we're doing is being monitored. Like they can listen to us through our phones. Like,
The cameras on our laptops or the cameras in our phones. It's like if anybody saw that movie, what's it called? The Social Dilemma. It's like they actually monitor our faces for how we react to different things that we're looking at. And then they're like, it's like a drug. They're like, ooh, what gets a reaction? Let's pump more of that out. Or like, what makes this person click? Oh, this person keeps looking at Coach bags. Let's keep throwing more Coach ads in their Instagram. Well, it's not going to work because I'm saving money now. Do you remember how many followers you had on Twitter before you were banned?
Yeah, I think at that time I had like 25,000 or something like that.
Yeah, that's a healthy amount. That's really good.
Yeah, well, and now it would be like, it would be way more.
You'd be like at least 200,000.
Yeah.
Probably more.
I know. I'm so busy so bitter. Sorry, I had an interview earlier and then I went for dinner and had 2 glasses of wine really fast.
No,
so
I like it.
Drunk right now.
This is fine. This is, you know what? This is the Meghan that I wanted. It's, you know what? And I had 1 glass of wine a few hours ago, so I'm tempted to go grab my wine again and catch up. But it's very sad to think about, like, and especially in 2018, like Twitter, that's where Trump is. And it's just, and how did you figure out what tweet got you banned?
Well, they sent me the tweet. Like they said, you were suspended because of this tweet. They just didn't tell me what was wrong with the tweet. So the one like leading up to it, there was a few leading up to it, one of which was one that just said men aren't women though. And then there was another one that said, what's the difference between a trans woman and a man? And those weren't like statements on Twitter. It was part of a conversation. So I was in the middle of a conversation with somebody who I don't even think
was in a thread or like a
response. And I don't think it wasn't directed at a specific person. It wasn't like I wasn't saying, I wasn't targeting anyone. Like Twitter claimed that I had been harassing trans people, but I hadn't. Like I was just having this conversation, and these are questions that I ask all the time. Like that's sort of like when I'm trying to explain to people what my concerns are about gender identity, often I'll just ask them questions. Like it'll be like, okay, so if a trans woman is a woman, what's a woman? Like, what are you saying? You're saying a trans woman is a woman. What does that mean? Because usually they can't answer that question. But yeah, so it was those 2 tweets, and then it was the tweet about Jonathan Yaniv, who was that guy in Vancouver who was going around asking estheticians to wax his balls.
Oh my
you
gosh,
heard the story, right?
Wow. Yeah, that was everybody loves that story. He just like showed up.
Yeah, no, sorry. Go ahead.
So this guy, so for people that don't know, I'm sure most people have heard of it, but at this point, but a guy, right? Is a guy, we'll call it a guy. We'll call it a guy. I mean, a person with dick and balls went into a waxing spa, salon, whatever, and said, give me a bikini wax. And then the waxer just goes to, dick and balls. And then she, I think, said no.
There was a bunch of them. Sorry, I'm gonna like choke on my water. But like he had been he contacted a whole bunch of estheticians. It was a grift, right? Like he's a grifter. Yeah. Like it wasn't about him identifying as trans. He just thought, oh, this is a way I can extort money out of people. So he was contacting estheticians on actually Facebook, I think, and sometimes from behind, from behind fake profiles. And once they would discover that he was actually a man, like if he would talk to them on the phone or they'd see his actual face, which was obviously a man face, and they would say, oh, sorry, we don't offer this service to women. And he would accuse them of transphobia and try to extort money out of them. And I think some of them may have, I can't confirm, I just heard this, some of them may have given him money. And then he took a bunch of the other ones to the Human Rights Tribunal in BC. But I was talking about him on Twitter and referred to him as he. And at the time, he was still using his male pronouns and male name in various places on social media, or sometimes like both Jessica and Jonathan and both like her and him. But I didn't, like I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. Like I think people thought that I was like poking, but I
Wow.
wasn't. Like I really was shocked when I got banned, and I was like, I don't understand.
Wow.
Like I knew that they didn't like it that I was talking about these things, but I didn't think I was breaking a rule. Like I wasn't intentionally trying to be an asshole. Like if I thought I was going
No.
to get banned from Twitter, then I probably would have been more careful about how I phrase things, not changed my arguments entirely, but like
That really sucks,
so
Megan. Yeah.
yeah,
It
yeah,
sounds
it's
like they were just
frustrating.
like, I mean, what a weird, you think, oh, it sounds like they were trying to make an example of you.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's like, you talk to you for 2 minutes or look at your feed. It's like, you're not an instigator. You're not like a button pusher. I don't think, you, to me, come off like someone who's like, let's just open up a conversation about something.
I mean, I'm just trying to be transparent and honest and straightforward. Like, I'm being very sincere about it, like everything that I say in any venue, in any context. Like, I'm really just saying what I think.
You're
Like, and
just,
I'm
yeah.
thoughtful about what I say too. Like, I'm not just spouting off. Like, if I'm going to take a position on something that's controversial, then I really will have spent a lot of time thinking it through and like thinking through my arguments to make sure that the arguments make sense. Like, I'm not just
You're not like
talking shit.
willy-nilly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just trying to put the trans and transparent, and they didn't like it. They didn't, they didn't like it. So how have you, so this has been 2 years now, how have you adjusted to reach out to podcast guests? How have you, where have you looked to grow your fan base or your following from without Twitter?
Well, I had to start a public Facebook page, which was really annoying because I hate Facebook.
Facebook
Um,
sucks.
I mean, who wants to like have arguments on Facebook? It's terrible. Facebook arguments are like the worst.
Facebook is now just entirely 50-year-olds. Like, I don't know when it happened, but it's just like, it's just high school, like transposed onto the internet. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not, and not that there's anything wrong with 50-year-olds,
Not
but
that
it's
there's anything
like
wrong with 50-year-olds. No,
I'm gonna be 50 someday. Hey,
that's true. That's true.
but it's like I feel like Facebook is occupied by people who like to have arguments on Facebook, and people who like to have arguments on Facebook are not cool people. Like, it's like, really what you want to do with your life is argue with strangers on Facebook? Like, because I find those kinds of conversations so draining and toxic, and just like I feel like my brain is like melting out of my
Yeah.
head,
And you're like,
and I find it embarrassing.
and you're like, and how much of my time have I spent doing this? You know why it's so draining? Because like a lot of people who argue on the internet, they don't want to have a conversation. They want to be right. They don't want to have their mind opened
Yeah.
up. They're not approaching it from like an open space. They're just like, fuck you, you're wrong, and here's why. And they'll just tag one article and be like, proof, So
Yeah, and they just like they're doing it for other people. Like, they're not doing it because they're trying to have a genuine conversation and like learn something or hear what you have to say or better understand you. They just are, it's I feel like I say virtue signaling like 1,000 times a month, so I'm tired of saying it. But there's some terms where it is like, oh, I'm tired of hearing myself say this.
Yes, me too. I have a whole word bank. I'm tired of saying censorship. I'm tired of saying identity politics.
Yeah.
What else? It's like, yeah, there's a whole list of like 2020 terms.
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture. It's a culture. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
it's just
but
called
yeah,
cunts.
like yeah, I mean, it's just like people who I tend to like think that people who behave like that are miserable people. So I try to have empathy for them. Like, I try to be like, okay, anyone who would behave like this is miserable. Like, I find that those kinds of people, the cancel culture people who operate online specifically, tend to be like major losers in real life, honestly. Like, it's like, if you It's funny because it's like you'll notice that a lot of people who have like big social media profiles, like big Twitter followings, not for any good reason, not because they're like they have some kind of skill, like they're like a journalist or a comedian, or like they don't have any reason to have a big following aside from
Maybe they're
their
just
tweets.
hot. Maybe they're just hot,
Well,
Megan.
okay, so the porn stars, got it. But like I find that when you meet those kinds of people, the people who are like, I'm so tough and badass on Twitter, and like I have all these hot takes and I have a bunch of followers, and like I said, like nobody really knows why. Like I'm
You're in a
not a
bubble.
writer, like I'm not contributing anything. They're losers. Like if you meet them in real life, they're weird and they're antisocial and they're not cool and they're not attractive, and like and you're just like, oh, this
That's
is all
funny.
you have. All you have is this like fake power that you wield online. So I guess I feel bad for you, but also like go do something good, like for yourself, not just like for the world, but it's like get off the internet and like
Open
I don't
up.
know, go exercise or something. Like this
Go
isn't
masturbate.
healthy.
Yeah, like I was just pitching my show dates earlier. I'm going to be in Texas at Hyenas, February 19th and 20th. The club has already emailed me saying we're getting complaints. People want us to cancel you because you were in DC on January 6th. I'm like, wow, people don't know the difference between like being in DC to cover an event and literally it was my idea to storm the Capitol. Like people are so fucking dumb. They don't know the difference.
So wait, they want to cancel you because
They wanted to cancel my show dates because I was in DC on January 6th, which was the day that like there was a Trump rally.
Yeah.
Because people were there to protest, like they're fucking but they're about to fortify a false election. Mega many examples of fraud, and yet like they'll go ahead and certifying it, and people are pissed about that. And I'm pretty sure that's one of the things I can't talk about on YouTube, but whatever. I don't know any code words for that yet. So,
yeah, I think you're not
just,
allowed to say a couple of the words you just said. I was
like,
I'm not saying those words.
people were there. Let's fucking rewind it back. People were there because they were upset about maybe they had some questions about math. Maybe they had some true or false. I don't know. People were fibbing.
People had some concerns.
People had concerns. It's too late. I don't know how to edit, but people had concerns. And so it was a planned march point. The Capitol was always going to be one of the places that people were going to march. It was like Tuesday night, we're meeting here. Wednesday morning, people are speaking at 9 a.m. And then Wednesday at 1, Capitol, boom. But people are stupid and they want to blame for whatever Trump said in his speech before people were about to march over. It's like, oh, it's because Trump incited violence. It's like, no, Trump said we're going to march over peacefully. Like at no point, he's not saying anything like the people on the left have been saying all summer long about like literally inciting violence. But different rules for different people. So anyway, like I was there, I was like tweeting a little about being there, and then all my idiot, I'm not even going to call them friends, but like, and I'm not even going to call them comedians because they haven't done shit in the last year. I know, because it's like you have a sense of like who in your community is working and who's not. And it's like, I know these people haven't been working and they're just salty as fuck that I've like improved myself in the last year. And they're just like, comedy's dead. I guess I'll walk dogs.
So other comedians went after you to cancel you.
Yes, and that's what I think. I'm fairly certain I have an idea of like who is calling this club to get me canceled, because it's like it's the same woke morons.
Get a life, man.
We need to make a list.
Like I don't.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like it's like I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't hate Trump supporters. I wasn't a supporter of the attack on the Capitol, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get into all that. But to me, I'm like, whatever, like, I can't imagine trying to, like, I just can't even imagine spending my time and energy doing that. Like, first of all, I support free speech, and I would rather have a conversation with people and understand what they're concerned about. And I have been trying to understand what they're mad about, and like come at every situation from like a rational and open-minded perspective and hear from people and not be like hyperbolic. But, you know, like I've never, I mean, obviously from my personal experience, like, you know, trans activists, every time I have an event, show up and protest and threaten to murder me, or like there's bomb threats, and they do everything they can to shut the events down. They threaten the venues. They've successfully shut down events. They've successfully gotten venues to pull out. But I just can't, like, I would never do that. I would never do that. I would never be like, oh, I hate this person, or I disagree with this person, or I think I'm just giving these people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they really think I am dangerous and harmful, even though I'm not. Even if I did think that somebody's ideas were dangerous and harmful, I would never try to stop them from speaking. I would never try to get the event canceled. I would never call the comedy club and be like, oh, well, this person has a different like political perspective than me, like get rid of her or else. Like, don't you just feel gross inside when you do that? Like I wouldn't be able to live with myself. Like I think it's disgusting, unethical behavior.
It's like, and these probably weren't people that even lived in Texas. These probably aren't even people that would come to comedy shows or even, you know what I mean? It's like that's like me calling up stores and being like, I need you to cancel everything you have that's in size extra large because I don't wear extra large. I don't believe in it. I don't think people should get to a point where they are extra large. It's a terrible example, but like,
but don't you think that people kind of try to do that? Like, I feel like I can picture some like fat activists or whatever you want to call them being like, cancel this store because they don't have my size here.
Or cancel them for carrying extra small. Like, I swear to God that like we're getting to the point where extra small is going to be seen as like hateful or racist somehow.
Well, it's the argument around inclusivity. And it's not that I don't support inclusivity. It's like, obviously, I think that people of all sizes should be able to access clothing. I think that's good. But I think that attacking every single business or venue or space because they don't accommodate to everyone is ridiculous. And I also tend to think like, okay, if this doesn't work for you, then you should create something. Like, stop trying to tear everything that already exists down and try to create something that you think is better or, you know, that works for you. And I've said this at a bunch of events that I've spoken at too. I'm like, you know, is it weird that like all these people who supposedly care so much about trans-identified people, they spend all their energy trying to destroy me and to try to stop me and these other women from talking. Why don't you just have an event yourself? Why don't you, if you believe that there are spaces that are needed for you to help you to make you feel safe. So, okay, you're male, so you're not welcome in the women's transition house. Why don't you fight to start a transition house for trans people? That would actually help trans people. If you believe that trans people need this service or this space, why don't you do something positive and create that? Because you would get funding in a fucking second. Like, women-only spaces don't get funding, they lose funding. If you wanted to create a space for trans people, like, everybody would support you. No one would try to stop you from doing that. Why aren't you doing that? Why is your whole MO to ruin other people's lives? Like, and this is the problem with cancel culture in general. Like, this is what I mean. It's like, why are you trying to get like Chrissy canceled? Why don't you just go do a comedy show somewhere else that shares you can go talk shit about her at another club. Like, go shit on her. So you can say whatever you want about me.
Uh-oh. She froze.
Is ourselves here?
Yeah, you froze. You're back though.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my stream went away for a sec, but I'm back.
Okay, you're good now. You're back. I did it. You were saying, like, instead of destroy somebody else, build what you want to see, create what you feel like is lacking. And in the time that those trans right activists spent pummeling you, they could have been uplifting trans voices. They could have been reaching actual people. So, like, inclusivity is like, the idea of inclusivity or the woke practice of it is it seems very inefficient, and I just think you accomplish more when you focus on building rather than destroying. I think angry people destroy and happy people build, and it's like you got to look within first before you can do anything.
It's true. Like I think that people who are very unhappy want to ruin other people. Like they want to make other people unhappy too. And I feel like I've experienced this, like where I'm in a bad place, I feel depressed, I feel bitter, I feel trapped. And so I just feel so angry at other people who are happy. And it's like, how can you fucking feel happy when I'm so like, so I get it. Like, I'm not immune from that feeling.
Like, what are you so happy about?
On it.
Yeah. I've had times where I've been in a bad place and I just get mad at people who have money. Like there have been times where I've been like, this fucking bitch with her trust fund, she doesn't have to ever work.
Oh, you have a house, huh?
That does nothing. It's like you need to okay, look within, clear your own shit out. Obviously, easier said than done, but just know that those feelings are temporary. Let them pass instead of acting on them. It's so interesting because before you're mentioning about the trans activists shutting down your events, I one time had a joke. This was, again, I think 2 years ago, because for about 6 years, I hosted a stand-up comedy show at the Stonewall Inn, which is a landmark LGBT, it's like a landmark bar in New York City. It was like the home or the site of like the Stonewall riots. It's like, very important, pretty epic spot. And it's like not only New York, but also national landmark. So I started doing a show there. It went for 6 years. It was a fucking amazing show. And I know that there are people that were so pissed at me that like, what is this straight girl doing? I'm like, by the way, I've hooked up with women. Okay. When is it going to be enough for you guys? No, it didn't even matter. I had people being like, why is this straight girl? Like, how does she get to do
what
this
about my
show?
queer points?
like what? Yeah. How does she get to what made her deserving of this? It's like nobody handed shit to me. I worked for it. I went door to door looking for a spot to have a comedy show. I just happened to start in Greenwich Village. I started a Kettle of Fish, which is right next door to Stonewall. I said, can I do a show here? They're like, we do music. I literally went next door to Stonewall. Can I do one show here? They're like, okay. And it was a not so great night. And then I came back the next month. Can I get another date? I did that for at least a year until I finally got the guy to agree to give me a monthly show. And then I like fought to keep it a Saturday night and spent my own money on advertising. But yet there's still people who are upset that I ran this show and I'm not queer. But I went out of my way to constantly scout like, new LGBT stand-up talent. I threw in a lot of like, like professional veteran comics that were performing at the Comedy Cellar, which was just a few minutes, walk away. And so I'm doing all this. I feel like, I did a fucking fundraiser for the shooting in Vegas. I think that was in the Pulse nightclub shooting. Like donated, just again doing fundraisers for like NYC Pride, like really trying to help and not just having this show, but trying to like walk the walk and support the community. Yet when I make a joke on Twitter, there was this video of this bird. It was like a parakeet that was barking, like just a bird that was, because parrots, like they repeat what they hear and then they say it, they hear it so there's this bird just barking. And I tweeted something dumb to the effect of like, oh, I guess this bird is transitioning. And then I had somebody come back at me, oh, you're a whack ally, because it's like you have all these people primed and ready and pissed at your existence, pissed that you're doing maybe the thing that they want to do, but they're too lazy to get up off their ass and actually do. It's like, one tweet and then, like, get her out, calling the Stonewall, get her off this show. And it's like, man, it's like people try. It obviously comes from a deeper place of like, their own anger or their jealousy or like whatever it is, again, because it's easier to destroy than create. And I just was like, you fucking, and then also the people I know that were pissed because they just weren't funny enough to get booked. And I'm like, man, like, don't make this out to be like a belief thing, when it's a talent thing. I don't know.
Dude, I mean, like I get shit constantly from everybody. Like, I get shit. I've been obviously getting shit from the left forever. Like when I was very attached to the left, when I was like, if you're not a socialist, you're bad. Like when I was that kind of person, I got shit. Like I was canceled by the left a million times, like liberal feminists, third wave feminists, the, pro sex work people, the trans activist people. And, I get it from the radical feminists. Like I get it, I got it from the libertarians in the past. Like, and I'm just like, and the radical feminists, I don't want to like specifically, I'm trying to be careful about what I'm saying here. I don't want to go after radical feminists, but it's like in the past year, the way that they call themselves the rad femmes online.
Sounds so cool.
I don't know, does it?
No, it doesn't. It sounds fucking dumb. It sounds like the people who hang out in the back of the school bus. Like carving up the seats. Yeah.
The way that they've behaved to me and the things that they've said about me, I'm just like, dude, like I've been running a feminist website for 10 years and I've been producing a feminist podcast for over 10 years. And for a very long time, I did all of that work for free. And yes, now I make a living, but I fucking worked so hard and had to put up with so much shit and still have to put up with so much shit. Like I just fought and fought and fought and fought. And the only reason I have anything, the only reason I have a platform, the only reason I have any, and it's not like I'm rich. I just have like an okay income now for once in my life. Like I'm okay.
You don't have to eat ramen every night. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like I can afford
a vegetable.
My life. Yeah. Like, and it's like I built this all myself from nothing. Nobody gave me anything. And I think people assume like people who don't know how to fight or they don't have the will to fight or they don't have the drive to build something themselves or they don't have the talent. Not everyone can be a comedian. Most people cannot be a comedian. I would never try to be a comedian. It would be embarrassing. Like it's a very, very hard thing to do. And so and to be successful at, like not only is it really, really hard just to be funny, like just to be a comedian. I think that people think that, and they think this way about writers too. So they think, oh, I could do that. And it's like, you really can't. Like it's not that easy to be good at this. Yeah. Like I know, like it's like they watch comedians, they look at writers, they look at, actors, they look at people who are good at public speaking and they think, or they look at artists and they're like, oh, I could do that. And it's like, I couldn't.
Speak. I have a
mouth. It's not that easy to be good at this. And it's not that easy to persevere at something that you're getting attacked from every angle and there's a lot of competition and you have to be so resilient. Like you have to be able to be criticized over and over and over and shot down and over and over and over again. And like if you're a writer, pitch and pitch and pitch and pitch and get rejected for years and years and years until you finally can like break in.
We're sick.
Yeah.
We need help.
There's something
we
wrong
love
with
rejection. We have no self-esteem. We keep going.
But and so people get jealous. So they look at you once in their mind you've made it. I.e., you have a platform, you have an audience, maybe you make an income, and then they're pissed and they're like, oh, why do you have this? And like, who gave this to you? Like, obviously you have privilege. Like, you must be rich. Like, you must have like fucked a bunch of dudes and they gave, like, just so sexist, right? Like,
all the dudes,
I get feminists say that, right?
All the dudes I've ever fucked have given me nothing. Like, in terms of career. A lot of them didn't even give me an orgasm. A lot of them just bad overall. Just no.
I mean, they gave me a lot of heartache. Some of them gave me good like writing fodder. Most of them took away from time where I could have been working and being happy by like making me hang out with them instead, or making me miserable, or wasting my emotional energy.
2 gave me chlamydia. I will say that for sure. Brian and Pat. Shout out to Brian and Pat.
Brian, Pat. I mean, whatever. Chlamydia is not that big of a deal.
Not a big deal at all. Not a big deal.
I know a lot of. I've never
Water
had
under the
chlamydia.
bridge. It's chlamydia under the bridge.
Most people have had chlamydia. I feel like it's not. It's like getting
Perhaps
a cold.
some of you listening right now have it as we speak.
Probably.
I want to know. So this is so interesting. So like, because I feel like I sort of came of age as a feminist, like as well. Like I was a women's studies minor. I know it's a minor. It's not saying much, but like graduated college, like card carrying feminist, was like all about it. You know, like just because I graduated in college in like 2005. It just was cool. It was like kind of all my friends were sort of like thinking and singing the same song, and then like I think I'm even still a registered Democrat. Like, again, it was just all about it. Even, my early comedy circles, all very liberal. And then I think over time it was the free speech thing and growing into my sense of humor that made me sort of like turn away from the left. What was your experience? Was it college that kind of shaped you into the person, or when you started writing, or when you started this feminist website?
I mean, like, I feel like my dad was like a union. He was very active in the union. Both of my parents are leftist. My dad was a Marxist. And, like I went to I was striking with my dad when I was little. My mom was a feminist. So I sort of feel like I always identified as a feminist for as long as I can remember, and like a Marxist or a socialist, and was just kind of like adamant about these ideas. And I didn't even ever really know anybody I didn't know anybody who was religious. I didn't know anybody who was right wing.
Yeah, me neither.
I lived, but still live, well, not at this very moment, but in Vancouver, which is a very lefty place. Like, Canada in general doesn't have like a major religious right presence like there is in the US. And I had this mentality that I didn't even understand why anybody wouldn't be a feminist or a socialist or a Marxist. I was like, but these are the good things, and the other things are clearly the bad things. And if I just explain to these people why they're wrong and I'm right, then they'll get it and change their minds. And, like at a certain point, and it sort of coincided with my getting kicked off of Twitter. And also, I'll be totally honest, this is not going to be pleasing to feminists, but like I had a boyfriend who
get out. No. I always make this joke all the time. I was a feminist until I needed a shelf hung, and then you're like, ooh,
well, who's gonna fix my truck? Like, I don't know how to do that.
Who's gonna change this tire? I would love to hate men, but I have something heavy to lift.
I can't carry this. Like, man, I don't know how to change my oil.
Yeah, my dad did all that shit for me. It's like my dad never really talked to me, but he would do all my car shit for me. So it's like, all right.
Yeah. My dad did everything. My dad actually did most of the cooking and cleaning too, but he also did all the like fixing of things and building things and like driving me places, things. And so now I'm like, this is what men are in our lives for, to help us with these things. Like, it's like, I don't know how to put a fucking shelf on my wall. Like, I don't want to know how to do this.
I don't want to use a level. I don't want to put a hand. I don't want to hang up a TV.
I'd buy a drill. Like, no, you have a drill. You bring your drill over and do whatever the drill does.
I don't want to put a bed together. I don't want to put anything together.
No, like it's terrible. So anyway, I had this boyfriend, and he he was like into Jordan Peterson, gasp, and into
classic dude. Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan. Jordan Peterson is the shit. That 16 Rules for Life. What is it? Is it 12 rules? 16 rules? I forget. 12 rules for life. That book changed my life. Like that he filled in the gaps of my parents. You know what I mean? Like he really gave me some good real world, like grown ass adult tips, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I've read parts of that book. I haven't read the whole thing. But I mean, there's lots of things that I don't, there's things that Jordan Peterson says that I don't like, and there's things that he says that I do like. And I feel like, when he was like, he introduced me to kind of like Dave Rubin and even like Ben Shapiro and like, those kinds of, I guess it was called the intellectual dark web back then.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ari Weiss, but essentially I just started listening to people that I had never listened to before because I'd rejected them as bad people. You know what I mean? Like I'd rejected them as anti-feminist or not leftist or right wing or libertarian or free speechers. Like I did all that stuff that I'm fighting against now, which I feel is actually very useful because I understand why people think that way, because I thought that way. I never spent a whole bunch of time trying to cancel other people. I never went around trying to censor other people's shit or shut down events, but I also never stuck up for free speech. And I never saw the point in trying to engage with people who I didn't even see it as a disagreement. I saw them as enemies. Like I just saw them as dumb or bad people. And so now I'm trying to explain to all of my people, many of whom have turned on me now because I've taken all these positions.
Really? Oh,
Oh,
man.
totally. Like so many of the feminists that supported me for years and years and years and who I worked with and allied with, like, they've
It was the boyfriend.
totally.
They were pissed about the boyfriend.
He was very attractive.
Ooh,
You
yeah. I
guys would
mean,
understand. I hope that he doesn't watch this because he's so fucking full of himself that he'll be
oh
like,
man, was he
"Yeah,
an
I
actor or
am."
something? Or just
Huh?
is he like an actor or something?
No, he's in he had like a tech startup, but he
His name
he's
was Elon
avoidant.
Musk.
He's avoidant. I mean, dating him was a nightmare, but he's great. He's really smart. He's really
I love
smart.
Elon
He's
Musk.
very
Great guy.
handsome, but he's avoidant and impossible to be in a relationship with. In any case, he sort of changed my mind about a bunch of things, and so that sort of coincided with me generally being kind of intellectually bored. Like I'd been running this feminist site for a long time and basically only writing about feminism, and I just got to a point where I was like, I want to do something new, and not because I was just like, oh, feminism is bad. It's just like I don't want to just keep like I feel like I'm not thinking anymore. Like I want to challenge myself. Like I want to think about new ideas. Like I'm a writer, I'm a thinker. This is what I love to do, and I don't want to just be repeating myself over and over again and regurgitating a bunch of stuff. So I start, exploring new ideas, and that's a very dangerous thing to do.
That's interesting. The idea of getting bored. Maybe was it because you weren't being challenged enough?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and the problem in feminism, just like it is on the left and just like it is in any kind of rigid ideology, whether it's like a religion or whatever, is that people don't challenge you. Like they don't challenge each other and they don't challenge you. You know what you're supposed to say, you know what you're supposed to think, you know what the analysis is, and if you just keep saying that, you'll be safe and you can stay in the club and you can have everyone's support. And if you start asking the wrong questions, and this is what I learned in feminism, it's like I start asking the wrong questions and I start not
What are
wanting to
the
repeat all the mantras.
what
And
are the wrong questions?
well, I suppose it's around questioning things like well, the free speech thing is a big thing. For whatever reason,
It's
there's
a
a lot of
trigger.
feminists who yeah, it is a trigger. And they think that if you say free speech, that makes you, like a men's rights activist or.
That means, yeah, that you're not accountable for your speech. I think that's what a lot of leftists think, that you can just be racist or homophobic or misogynistic, and like it doesn't matter because it's free speech when it's so
Yeah.
much bigger than that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people sometimes think that it's like, well, you just support speech because you want to be an asshole. Like you just support free speech because you want to say bigoted things, and it's like, well, I mean, I really just want to have real conversations, and I also really just want to be honest and be myself. But yes, in supporting free speech, I support people saying bigoted things. Like that's how it
It's
works.
almost
Like
like
it's not because I support necessarily what they're saying, but
of
yeah,
course,
like
you can agree, but that's the thing. It's like if someone really is an asshole and they really are saying, it's like kind of like this idea of the market will decide. You know, if someone's such an
yeah.
asshole and they're truly homophobic, misogynistic, all the awful things, all the isms, all the ists, well then they'll lose followers, they'll lose popularity, people will turn them off, and like they'll figure it out or they won't, or they'll flounder away into obscurity. So it's like we don't need like big tech making these decisions. I think people are smart enough to make their own decisions about who to follow. And it's like when you start putting, oh, these person or these ideas are dangerous, or we can't even ask questions, and it's like you getting like freaking banned off of just a question of like what's the difference between a trans man and a woman or something. um that's what's so icky.
Well, to me, it's like I'm like, don't you want to? I want the opportunity to defend my arguments. So I like having these kinds of conversations and debates because if something is really important to me to the point where I'm speaking about it in public and talking to people about it, like I want the opportunity to explain myself. I want to be challenged because I want to know that my ideas are good. And so to me, it's always confused me that people don't want the opportunity to debate because I'm like, okay, well, if your arguments are so good, like, don't you want the opportunity to air your arguments? You know, people have tried to set up debates with me and trans activists around the gender identity issue, and no one will do it. They just all refuse. And I'm like, well, if you had really, like, I'm not scared to debate anyone. Like,
Right.
and it's because I think I have my arguments make sense. And it's like, well, if you don't even want to defend your arguments, then is it because your arguments are bad? Is it because your arguments are weak? And a lot of people behave like that again, especially like on the left and in feminism. Like it's like I won't participate in this debate with this person because it'll legitimize their ideas, or I won't sit on this panel with this person because they're bad, and if I'm on the panel then it'll make me seem like I'm signing on to whatever they're saying. But it's like, no, this is an opportunity for you to disagree and explain why their ideas are bad or harmful. And don't you want to do that? Like, if you believe so strongly that what this person is saying is wrong or doesn't make sense or is bad, then don't you want the chance to stand up and say, like, no, like this person, this doesn't make sense, and here's why my ideas are better. Like that's what we
Right.
should be doing.
We should be debating. Instead, it's like the scenario you just described is like a microcosm of what our society has become. It's like the person on the left does not join the panel because they think joining the conversation acknowledges the person on the right's reality. So it's like instead of having a discussion, you now cut off, and we now have two completely separate realities going on. I think especially so in like American culture. It's like over years and years of not engaging with one another and not having conversations. We just separate. I'm not going to talk to that person. They're wrong. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk to this feminist. I'm going to talk to this liberal. I'm not going to talk to this right winger. You know, and then names and names. Everyone's racist. I'm not going to talk to this racist person. It's like, well, you've cut yourself off, and now it's like you're so cut off into your groups. I feel like there's just two completely different worlds, two different understandings of what's going on. It's because we have just drifted so far apart, and no one is talking to each other. And so it's interesting to hear you say, because I was going to ask you, do you think the left is just afraid of debate or afraid of conversation? I mean, if
think
everyone wants to be
so.
right, everyone wants to be right, to feel like they know what's up. But
I mean, I think on some level, if you're gonna refuse to debate or refuse to have the conversation, it's either that you're triggered, like it's like, and like I think sometimes people just get triggered by conflict or by being in that kind of argumentative situation. Or it's that you legitimately don't know how to defend your arguments. And that's probably because you've not been put in the situation of having to defend them before. Like, I knew when I say I got intellectually bored, it's like I knew that I was getting too comfortable.
Hmm.
Like, I was like, oh, if somebody challenges me on this, I don't know how to defend myself. I've been so used to making the same arguments over and over and over again to people who already agree with me. I mean, it's not that I haven't, there's certain topics that I had debated before, but I was debating them from a position where I thought that, like I said, the other people were just kind of immoral, just kind of bad.
Hmm.
Um, but I could tell that I was just getting lazy in my arguments and lazy in my thinking, and that I had to kind of do better. And I actually found it really depressing because it's like I care a lot about the feminist movement and I care a lot about feminists, and a lot of these people are like my friends and supporters and allies, and I liked them. And it was very disappointing to me that when I started speaking to different kinds of people and speaking about different kinds of issues and asking different kinds of questions, that they turned on me and vilified me. And I was like, well, I don't know if I think this is such a good movement anymore. And that doesn't mean like I don't, I'll always fight for women's rights. That's, mostly what I do. But as far as signing on to the ideology of feminism or allying myself with feminism, the feminist movement, like, I'm like, I don't know, you guys aren't like, you're not very open minded, nice people. And you're not going to reach people by vilifying them. Like, that's the other thing that it's like, in by talking to people who are different from me, who disagree with me, I understood those people and I gained empathy for those people. And I was like, oh, I like people who disagree with me. Like, I have conversations with people who support Trump and I don't hate them and they're not bad people. And it helped me understand where they're coming from. And I think that's a good thing. I want to understand and like people. I don't want to hate people. Like, I don't want to spend my life being mad and hateful. Like, I don't enjoy that. And so many people refuse that. So many people, it seems like they would rather just hate. And they're like, "Oh, you can like a person who voted for Trump, then fuck you." And it's like, "Oh, okay." Like, that seems sort of like a dehumanizing approach. Like,
Yeah.
don't you understand that most of the world is not like you and doesn't think the same way as you? And if you can accept that, then I don't support your move. I don't think that's a social justice movement. Like, I don't think that you're doing something good for the world if what you're doing is vilifying and hating people and rejecting them and refusing to try to understand where they're coming from and refusing to see them as human beings who are inherently good. Like, most people, I don't believe that most people are bad people. There are some people in the world who are bad people, but I believe that most people genuinely are well intentioned. They want to take care of themselves, they want to take care of their families. They think that what they're doing in the world is good for the world. And if you have the kind of outlook where you think that everybody is bad and evil and dangerous and they, are trying to inflict harm on the world, then I sort of wonder what you're projecting in that.
Hmm. Yeah. It's almost like what you were saying before, like I thought the idea of feminism was like to support, listen to women, believe women, and that includes women's choices, which for you was just talking to people with different beliefs. And it's like, is this now feminism or is this now like a clique? This is like a club and there's no straying from it. There's no asking questions. Um, and it was interesting because like when Trump first ran in 2016, I was like, I just hated his guts. Like I remember at one point I said to my boyfriend, and like he jokes with me about this all the time. I think at one point I said to him like, gun to your head, would you vote for Trump or Clinton? And Hillary Clinton, and he said Trump, and I was like, oh, ew, what the fuck? I was like mad at him. I like turned around in bed and then just like harumphed and went to sleep. And it blows my mind. Like, and then like over the years, I went from like, oh wow, like Hillary's pure evil to like Trump is not that bad. I had so many revelations, and then but similar to you, like I could definitely see, like I get how people on the left think because I was there. I was doing that same tap dance. I was singing that song for like years and years. And now same thing. I started to talk to people in the middle and on the right and getting shit from people, getting like ostracized from certain people and certain groups. And we need to make a list of any comics who were even in DC. And you're like, oh, wow, this is an ugly side that like I never got from the right when I was very much part of the left. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like, when I got kicked off Twitter and when I was getting attacked over all this trans activism stuff, I got contacted by a lot of right-wing people. People who were famous, people who were just regular strangers who'd heard about me and sent me, and they just, people sent me such nice emails, and they're like, I don't really think we agree on anything. Like, I think I probably disagree with you a lot about like abortion, or, just people who really, they knew what my work was, and they were like, I always thought that I like hated you. Like, I really don't like what you write about, but I really support you and you seem like a nice person and I want to help you. And it wasn't manipulative or ill-intentioned. Like, and the left and feminists did not behave like that towards me. Like,
they didn't reach out.
There was no outpouring of like, oh, I disagree with you on this, but I still support you. I shouldn't say, I'm sure there were some people that did that, but a lot of people, and these were people that I know in real life. These are just strangers on the internet who emailed me and was like, dear Meghan, like, I don't want anything to do with you now that you're a racist. And I was like, a racist? I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what did I ever say that was racist? And they're like, well, I said you were a racist.
It's an umbrella term. It's something that I can say. I don't have to justify or explain it to anybody.
Like, you're too right wing. And I was like, what beliefs do I have that are right wing? Like, it's like, you've just gotten too cozy with the right wing. And I was like, I don't understand what you're like. Explain to me what you're talking about.
To them, acknowledging that they exist.
Not hating them. I think it's not hating them. Like,
that sounds very cozy to me.
I don't know. And like, what? Okay, fine. Like, I don't want to defend myself against those kinds of accusations because I feel like it justifies them. I'm like, okay, if you want to just call me names or like accuse me of things so that you can write me off because I no longer subscribe to your exact political ideology or I don't believe all the exact same things that you believe, and I actually don't want anything to do with you because I'm not interested in being around people like that. Like, I don't like that. Like, I want to be around people where I can be myself and have normal conversations and not feel afraid. And that's what most people are like. If these people would get the fuck off of the internet or out of their bubbles and out into the world, like, go to a bar. I know it's hard now, but you can in Mexico. Go to the bar, sit next to somebody, have a conversation with the guy sitting next to you, the person behind the bar, and they're like, oh yeah, no, I know, totally. That's bugging me too. Like, most people in the world see things our way.
Right,
like,
because you're not sitting at a bar and it doesn't say like, oh, this is Patrick Ewing. I don't know why I said Patrick Ewing, but it's like you don't see the person's name, who they voted for. You don't like. I don't know. Wow, of all the people to pick, I don't even like basketball. This is Patrick Ewing. He voted for Trump. He's a size 13 foot. I don't know. It's just like you're not getting everybody's stats and beliefs like kind of people like to do with Twitter. God, I had a really good point and I fucking lost it. Damn it, damn it, damn it.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's okay. I can keep
getting
talking.
cozy, getting cozy, too cozy with the right. You know what? Oh, here's the point: is that these people that like make it a point to like cancel you, or they make it a point to see themselves out. And I say that a lot when someone sees themselves out of your life. You know, I had this tweet where I was like making fun of Chrissy Teigen's very real miscarriage. I said like, oh, my mom had two miscarriages and she did it the old fashioned way, without a photo shoot or something like that. And then I had a friend who like saw herself out of my life, was like wrote me off. It's like, I can't believe you're making fun of miscarriages and grief. It's like, no, it's like I'm making fun of celebrity. I'm making fun of my mom, if anything. But I think when things like this happen, or you have somebody emailing you to say, I am no longer associating with you, it's like that has more to do with that person than it does you. It's this person's attempt to define themselves, to see themselves more clearly in the world. These are people usually like searching for something, or they're just triggered by something you've said. They need, instead of working on why they're triggered, they're immediately going to thrash out at you or lash out at you, because that's an immediate like response. You can feel like you've done something a lot sooner than sitting and thinking with it, why was I so triggered by this miscarriage joke? You know, it's more satisfying to just be like, fuck this person, I'm out. I'm not with you anymore, than it is to be like, why do these words like trigger me so? Or like, what is, picking it apart.
Yeah, I mean, it is like it's a certain level of like emotional immaturity where you're not, first of all, you're not able to stop yourself from lashing out when you have a feeling. So you feel triggered by something and your response is to just like, bleh, like say something, as opposed to, like you say, sort of sitting and being like, it sounds dull, but this is what you learn if you do a lot of therapy and like you
Yes,
do like
girl.
self work and
Five
mature as a
plus
human
years of
being.
therapy right here. It's too much there. I've
Yeah.
been all the therapy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of therapy too, and it's like I just, if I feel super emotional about something or really triggered or really angry, then I know don't say anything. Like I'm not going to text my
Mhm.
friend. I'm going to be
Wait
like,
till it
okay, I
goes.
feel really upset. I'll wait until tomorrow and then I'll say something if I feel like I still need to say something, and that's what it means to mature, I
That
think. And
sounds
so
like
for
some
people,
adult shit right there. Yeah, that's good.
yeah, it's like, but just reacting on social media, like I'm like, don't you have boundaries? Like, don't you have self-control? Like, you must really be struggling right now. Like, you must be in a bad place that you're lashing out like this. So yeah, like it's like I feel bad for you, but also like I don't, you're putting this on me and I don't want anything to do with it. Like keep this to yourself. Like go spew your hate at some, like I don't have time for this shit. Like I just don't. Like I don't want it. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. And I mean, I think that's something else that people don't understand, is that they think that your job is to engage with them
Mm.
on email or online. And
Or
I'm
please
like,
them, or like make them
yeah.
happy.
It's like I don't, first of all, I have my own boundaries and I'm trying to protect my own mental health, which means not spending my life arguing online. But also, I do have a job and I have lots of work to do, and I literally just don't have time to just engage in, like that would be my full-time job if I
It's like a
engage with
drug.
everybody who
It,
came at me.
it's like anger really is like a drug, and you just keep hitting that thing, and I know it. I've been in that place of like, it's just your heart beating so fast. It's like adrenaline, and you're like, I'm justified in this anger. I'm gonna let it rip, and it
Yeah.
like, yeah, you just always have to like, okay, just if you feel yourself in that place, whether you feel justified or not, you have to take a step back, put the phone down, take a cold
Yeah.
shower. I don't know, have a margarita, have
Yeah.
some.
No, yeah, it's not like I'm not guilty of it. Like I totally have done it before. I just try really hard not to. I literally, like just today when I was having dinner, like I had posted a photo of me and my dog in Mexico on my private Instagram. Like I have, like I don't,
Oh, I want to follow it now. Fine. I'll find it
You
later.
can, but nobody else can.
I really want to just see this dog is what it's
No,
coming
no,
down
you
to.
can. Yeah, but she's very beautiful. And
Oh,
this guy that I knew from high school, who I used to be friends with. I mean, he was never like my best friend because he was always trying to fuck me, and I was like,
such a good
I
friend. Yeah.
thought we were. I know. It's like I think we were friends, and then he tried to hit on me, and I was like, didn't we go through this already? And I don't want to do this with you ever. So either be my friend or don't. But anyway, once he got a girlfriend, his girlfriend was like
TikTok.
super woke and
Oh,
decided that I was a transphobic turf, da 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 da. So he basically
turf.
rejected
Oh
me from
God.
his life, like uninvited me from his birthday party. And I was like, you know what? I have this text right here from you from 6 months ago when you were saying, Megan, I'm really so impressed by you and I love your work and you're so brave and I
Wow.
totally understand and I support what you're doing. And then he has this chick who's like, she's transphobic. And he's like, yeah, she's transphobic. I'm like, oh, okay. But anyway, so I haven't talked to this guy in like 2 years or something. And he like it's not like he's commenting on my shit on Instagram ever or in contact with me ever, and I post this photo and he leaves this like self-righteous like judgy you really shouldn't be posting photos of your trip to Mexico when we're all in a pandemic and we
Oh
all we all
God.
can't travel. And I was
Get your
like,
ass to Mexico. It's not
I
hard.
know. I messaged him and I was like, you can do this if you want. I'm risking not being allowed to come back to Canada. I recognize that I'm very lucky that I can do this because I work online. Like, if I couldn't continue to work, I couldn't do this. The reason that I'm here is because I can work here and
Right.
I'm working a lot. I was like, dude, like, yeah, I posted a picture of me lying outside with my dog, but I've literally been working since I got here. Like, this is the first day that I've been to the pool and I've been here for over a week because I'm fucking
Wow.
working. But
Yeah.
like, I was like, man, first of all, I'm not gonna hide. Like, I'm not ashamed. I made a choice for myself because I was super depressed and super anxious and super miserable in Vancouver, and I was like losing my fucking mind. Like, I live alone. Like, do you
It's
understand what it's
hard.
like
It's
to live
really
alone
hard.
and not be able to be around other people?
It's
Like,
really hard. Yeah.
and I was like, okay, I was just like, I'm done. I'm leaving. Like, and it's fine. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything risky. I'm
Lots
making a
of
choice
people
from
are somewhere else right now. Yeah.
totally. And they're like, it's like, I guess they just didn't post a photo on Instagram, but I
And it's so
like,
funny, Megan. Like, would this guy have said the same comment to you in a private message? The fact that he needed to put it out there,
yeah.
not even publicly, but so that other people would see, that's about him. That's again, it's him. He's trying to find his identity. Apparently he's brainwashed, or if you're brainwashed because of a significant other, I call it being dick washed. So he's dick washed. He's all
Gross.
yeah, he all it does sound gross. It does sound like a little like bowl of water, and you just all right. That was gross. I thought it would be
That
funny.
I said that to him. I sent him a DM and I was like, you know what? You could just text me or you could send me a DM. And the fact that you posted this publicly on my Instagram, like I was like, you know me. We've known each other for a long time. I was like, that says a lot about you. And I was like, and then he acted all hurt and was like, why
Come
are you
on.
attacking me? I was like, man, like
Uh,
I'm
that's
making my own choices. You make your own choices. I'm not ashamed of what I'm doing. Like, let me live my life. Like, I'm not going to be miserable and depressed and anxious and die a slow mental death if I don't have to, and I don't have to. So I left. Sorry. And eventually by the end of our argument conversation, he was like, okay, sorry, like, I was just like jealous, and I was like, okay, fine, fair
exactly.
enough. But just like,
Exactly.
that's fine. Like,
You're
but
pale.
don't,
You're jealous. You're not holding a margarita. That I could have said that.
like, you're stuck at home with your like woke girlfriend who's probably
Ugh.
like on your ass, like
Yeah. Yeah.
making you have fake thoughts and say fake things and pretend that men are actually women and so on and so forth. I'm like, well, sorry that you made that choice. I'm making a different choice.
Yeah. Sorry, you're not like actively pursuing misery.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, you're
I want to
living
be
it.
happy. It's my
You're,
one
li-
life.
you're living it up. I hope you have a hot Mexico hookup, Megan. I know it's probably not your top priority, but do think about it.
I will. I mean,
Maybe you already did.
I'm doing okay over here.
Okay, good. She's cleaning up. She's cleaning up.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
I love it. I love it. Megan, where can people find you, follow you, support you? What's coming up next? Where can people go?
Okay, so The Same Drugs is my podcast. So I am on YouTube and then also all the podcasting platforms, whatever, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, or those places, iTunes. And my website's feministcurrent.com, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, but not Twitter.
Oh, look, I made a little ticker. There we go. Look at this
Nice.
technology.
You're talented. Like I don't do any of this shit. You're making me feel bad.
You know, I can do all this, but I can't vacuum my own apartment. We're learning. You know, StreamYard, it's a process. I'm learning. Meghan Murphy, you're a delight. It was really cool to talk to you. I feel like we covered a lot of interesting stuff that I haven't talked about with other guests before. So that's really, really great. Dick washing. I grossed you out at a couple points, but I feel like we agreed on most things. Everybody.
Well, I'm gonna have you on my channel soon. So
ooh, yay!
we'll get to talk more. Yeah.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you so much, Megan. This was great. Everybody follow her YouTube channel. Why are you on all the the other sites like Gab and Telegram and Parler, RIP? Are you on any of the alternatives?
I just always forget. I was on Parler, but I would always forget to use it. This is my I don't, like I said, I don't love social media, so I sort of I remember to use Facebook and Instagram and forget. I should try to use other. I have an account on Gab, but I don't use it, so it's nothing against Gab. It definitely wasn't anything against Parler. I just.
You just don't.
So primarily Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. That's the most that I can muster. Thank you for having me on. This was really fun.
Oh, anytime. This was so great. Thanks, Megan.